bronchitis, and I had asthma, and I was taking three medicines to breathe, and I tried hypnosis, I tried acupuncture, I tried the gum. They didn't have the patch then, but I tried the gum, and I tried cold turkey, and I couldn't quit smoking. And so finally, I realized that I can't do this. So I just turned to God, and I said, I've tried everything I can think of to quit smoking. I've done everything that I know of to quit smoking, and I can't quit smoking. And I'm sick and tired of feeling guilty. So I'm just going to smoke and not feel guilty. And if you want me to be off cigarettes, help me. And I prayed that way every day for months and months. And then I was down in California visiting my sister in she lived in Santa Rosa then, which is about an hour and a half north of San Francisco. And I was having my last cigarette of the day, and this little voice in my head said, "Enjoy this one. That's your last cigarette." I just laughed. I didn't think anything of it. I put the cigarette out and I went to sleep. I haven't had a cigarette since.
No. Okay.
Strictly through prayer. And the same thing with money. Like I was no good with money. I'd go on a job, I'd make lots and lots of money, but at the end the money was all gone. I couldn't save money. Even after I quit drinking, I couldn't save money. So I tried everything I could. I learned about budgeting. I took a course on budgeting. I went to the bank and then I said, "Can you teach me how to handle money?" And they gave me this course that they usually give for kids that are in school because that's how stupid I was with money. And I tried everything and nothing worked. So I did the same thing as I did with cigarettes. I said, "God, I spend money like a 5-year-old kid, and I'm tired of feeling like an idiot at the end of these jobs. Other people got $10,000 or $15,000 in the bank, and I've got $50 in the bank." So I just asked God to help me with the money, and then nothing seemed to change. But then all of a sudden, one time I had $500 in the bank. I never had $500 in the bank in my life. And I tried to see what I was doing different, but I couldn't see anything that I was doing different. But I kept praying, and then I had $1,000 in the month, and then I had $5,000 in the bank. And then on one job, I was working for Flint Energy. I was running a Zoom boom. I worked for them for 366 days, a year and a day. And every time I would go home, I would take money out of the bank in $100 bills, and I put it in my safe deposit box to save it. And I was on that job for a year, and at the end of that year, I had $30,000 in the bank. And that's way far and away beyond anything I had ever been able to do with money. And so those two things, smoking and money, I tried everything else, and then when nothing worked, I tried God, and God came through both times for me. So my faith in God, because of things like that and other things in my life, when I remember one time I had this problem, I can't remember what the problem was, but it was really bugging me. And I was asking people at the meetings in Edmonton, I was living in Edmonton, what do you think? And they said, "Oh, I don't know, we don't know what to think." And then I heard about there was going to be an international young people's conference. And I was probably at that point in my early 20s, maybe 21, 22, 19, 20, somewhere around in there. And so I went to this international young people's conference in Vancouver, and this American guy came from Saudi Arabia, and I heard him speak, and he solved my problem.
Mm.
And I was thinking, could I think that up in my mind to get my problem solved? No, but could God? Yeah.
Mm.
And lots of times in my life, I've gone to meetings and I've heard something that I really needed to hear from somebody that I didn't expect to hear it from. And God has come through for me so many times in the last 48 years, because I've been going to meetings for 48 years. I haven't been sober that long, but I've been going to meetings for 48 years. And God has come across and helped me over and over and over again. So to me, if there's a higher power, isn't a theory. I don't know exactly, like I'm a Christian, and I believe that that God is on my side. And when I look back over the last 48 years, even when I look back before that, like I used to drink and drive, and I'd drive like 100 miles an hour, 110 miles an hour. I really liked to drive fast when I was drunk. And I'm alive. I shouldn't be alive because of the way I would drink and drive. Because I remember one night, I was at a party at my cousin's place, and I was so fucking drunk. They had to help me out to my car because I couldn't walk well enough
Mm.
to get out to my car.
Mm.
And yet I drove home. I never hurt anybody. I never wrecked that car. I wrecked a couple other cars. And I got an impaired charge, and I got beat up by the cops. But I didn't do anything about that because I deserved it. I shouldn't have been driving the car the way I was. So I've gotten all this help, usually through other people. God has helped me change things that I need to change. Like right now, I'm going to get some kind of a tape player. I want to get a tape player that I can tape something on. And they say this Bruce Lipton guy that I listen to on the tapes, he says that when you go to sleep, your conscious brain, which is the weak part of your brain, but it's a creative part, it shuts off, and your unconscious brain is working. And he says if you put positive messages on a tape player, and you put that tape player on your ears just before you go to sleep, that positive messages will go straight into your unconscious mind because there's nothing blocking them from doing that. And he has a doctorate in molecular biology.
Mm.
And when he first started out, he didn't believe in spirituality. But what he found, and we're talking now at a cellular level, he found that the cell takes a message from the environment, and that's the higher power. And he studied brain function, how we think, which parts of our brain do what, all that kind of stuff. And so when I finish with you, I'm going to go get one of those, pick up one of those cassette players. But I need to have one that I can record messages on. And I've been writing down what I want to record, because in my original programming from the time I was born until the time I was 6 was all negative. Violence, the police, dad beating the shit out of my mother. It was all fear. I was afraid as far back as I can remember. And by the time I was 11, I was so screwed up that I tried to commit suicide when I was 11, and I never had taken a drink before that. So it had nothing to do with alcohol at all. But one of the things that I'm doing is I'm writing down these messages that I want to give to myself.
Okay.
And whether this works or not, I don't know, and I won't know until I try it. But Bruce Lipton, he wanted to write a book, and he tried over and over again to write this book, but he never seemed to get anywhere. And then he went and did this therapy called Psych K. And what it does is it puts new messages into your unconscious mind. And I think it's done through hypnosis, but I'm not positive on that. And after he did that, he wrote the book in 3 months.
Mm.
So it made a difference for him. And he says it makes a difference for him in a day-to-day basis. That, because you see, once you start thinking,
Uh-huh.
your prefrontal cortex is busy, and the old messages kick in, your unconscious mind. So 80% of the time we think about the past, 20% of the time we worry about the future, and 0% of the time